Hey everyone, Amy Wood here. I have Brent Nelsen with Furman University in Brussels right now joining us just before bedtime to talk a little bit about the debate. I guess you got to watch it. Did you tune in and with all the millions and millions of others? And who do you think won? Who were the winners?
Well, honestly, I didn't watch the debate. I would have had to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Ooh.
But I did. I spent a lot of time this morning watching all the clips and all of that. So I have a pretty good sense. But if anybody else is out there wants to correct me on some of the things, that'd be fine. But I think, once again, it's all about Donald Trump. Although I think the other candidates had certainly practiced their lines, and everybody had a little jab that they wanted to get in to the Donald. And I think Trump was on the defensive a little bit last night. I think it is really going to be interesting to see what happens in the polls when they come out tomorrow. I think we'll get the first ones out tomorrow. If Trump falls behind, what is he going to say?
Yeah.
Because all he says is, I'm a winner and I'm ahead in the polls. If he falls behind in the polls to Carson, that would be the most logical person.
Sure.
It could be, it could really change the tenor of his campaign, because so much of his campaign is built on his success and his winning. So that will be interesting, and that will force him to talk more about policy issues, which he still doesn't really want to talk about.
Well, it's going to be interesting tomorrow on this stage in Greenville. And for those watching this on Friday in Greenville, there will be a totally different tone. This is not a debate. This is not a, who has the best line moment against each other. This is a one at a time, deep questions about issues. I spoke to the organizers of this forum tomorrow, and it is going to be very policy focused, Brent. And so is that going to be a differentiator to hear them in that setting where they do have to dig deeper into the policy and where they're going to get follow-ups that ask for specifics?
That's right. They're going to get, as I understand it, they're going to get a few minutes of opening comments. They're going to let everybody do that. And then Governor Haley, I think, is going to ask a number of questions. And I think Heritage Action gets some questions. And then they're going to take some written questions from the audience. So it's going to be a whole different format, and it should be much more on policy. I was just looking to see, who's confirmed, and it looks like all the big candidates are confirmed. I guess there are a few that are not allowed on the stage because they still haven't reached the 1% threshold. but I think there are 11 that are going to show up. And I think all the major candidates are going to be there, except for, I think, Kasich. I don't think Kasich is going to be there.
And then we've got, of course, Lindsey Graham didn't make that threshold to get into this encounter, which is sad since he's only 45 minutes from his hometown.
I know.
Kind of unfortunate.
Apparently not. Now the thing is, he did well last night.
That's what I understand.
If you watched all 5 hours, apparently, Graham was the one that came out on top out of the 4 that were in the undercard. So he might have some, he might have a legitimate complaint here of not being on that stage. He also might spend the next 2 days trying to get on. So
yeah,
I won't count him out until I see the people walk out onto that stage.
Well, it's going to be exciting to watch this unfold. This is a long experience. It starts at like 4 p.m. and ends at 10 p.m. So we're talking many, many hours. This is not for the political lightweights out there. You got to be really into politics to watch the length of this thing. And of course, we'll be providing you with some highlights, and our Gordon Dill and I are going to be field anchoring there. So we will have Gordon actually putting together a sort of wrap-up piece for those who cannot take that many hours of politics. We will bring it to you in brief form. But for those who do, what do you think they should be watching for? What specifics do you think we should expect from these candidates? I mean, so that we're better informed.
Yeah. Well, one of the interesting things is, if you were listening carefully to the policy discussions, there are some very big differences among the Republican candidates. So get rid of the Trump reality show and start talking about things like whether we should go to war in the Middle East. I can't think of a more important question. Rand Paul says, no, we really shouldn't be engaged in foreign operations. And, people like Rubio, people like Senator Graham definitely think we ought to take the fight right to ISIS. So there's, war and peace is a big issue. Taxes are a big issue. They are all over the board on taxes.
Right.
Huckabee wants a flat tax. Bush has come out with a very complicated and quite significant, I think a very thoughtful tax plan that others are eventually going to have to take into account. So, there's some really big differences between these candidates on particular issues, and I think people need to be listening for that, because it's not just about personality, it's not just about rhetoric, it's also about ideas.
Yeah, and it's been hard to cut through the clutter of what's been going on, the noise, the oxygen sucking in the room, to actually get to those moments. So it's going to be a great opportunity in Greenville, South Carolina tomorrow to do that. Brent, I know you'll probably be watching some pieces and parts of this through various sources of media, including, I hope, WSPA.com. We will stream it live for those of you who want to watch it. And of course, we will wrap it up on the news later in the day. Brent, thank you very much for staying up late in Brussels so you could give us your perspective. Brent is at Furman University. You'll find him online too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amy. Great to be with you.